trying to get paper for me. I'm trying to get myself together.
All right.
You
We
gonna be able to
live.
hold all of them? Okay, you can hold them both.
Well, we get the tripods this week, so
Hopefully, yes.
yeah.
I'll have some tripods coming so we can just sit it up at the edge of the bed. Hopefully. I don't know if they're going to go that high, but we'll see. We'll figure out something.
You know,
Good morning, Cuz Love. There's Cuz Love talking about these people up again. Here they are again. We were just here 7 hours ago and you back. Yeah, we're back.
because we wanted to talk to y'all
What are we talking
about the fire that works.
about? The fire.
You
that
know,
works.
it's July 4th, of course.
Mm.
Independence Day. You know, to where you celebrate the military. Am I correct?
Well, it's America when they declared their independence from England. We're talking way back, 1700 something.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell I wasn't paying attention in history class, but anyway, yeah, that's is when they declared their independence.
Yeah, America declared their independence. Now I know some of you black people, you know, have an issue with Independence Day, and that's why I'm gonna celebrate it. But
Well, you know what they're saying. They're saying people were not freed. But to be honest with you, slavery was not as entrenched in the early part of the American society. It wasn't. It became entrenched deeply, pretty much after that, into the 1800s. It became very, very entrenched. But I mean, so it wasn't as widespread because they weren't even formed as a whole country at that point. You had individual states doing different things. You really did. I'm trying to remember some of my history. So that's one of the reasons that led up to what? The Civil War. Why? Because the northern states were doing things different than the southern states were. Mm-hmm. So, you know, there's a lot of history there. And I just refuse to sit around every time that there's a holiday in the country I live in to be upset. I just refuse to do it.
Yeah, about something that people that have been through it ain't even upset about these days themselves.
You know, I just feel like, you know, if I'm going to live in a country and they have a holiday, I'm going to find out about the holiday, and it doesn't take away from, you know, I don't lose my black card because I made some ribs. So the thing of it is that, you know, no, we're not going to sit there and do that. But, you know, we were talking about two different things today. You were going to talk either about what are you preparing. I like that topic. What are you preparing at the table? And then the fire that works. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, what are you preparing to put on the table? Well, as you know, Judy is cooking today. And more so, other than grilling, she's not grilling, she's cooking. What I say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. We don't have a grill yet. We haven't bought one.
Well, you know, so she's cooking the things that, you know, normally people would put on the grill, like Boston butts and.
No, Boston butts aren't put on grills.
Well, that's shredded.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Shredded.
So
but that would be smoked. Usually, that would be smoked or low heat for a long period of time. If you did put it on some sort of a grill, but the ribs would be put on a grill, which we could, you know, if we got a grill, we could put them on there for the last couple of minutes, get that.
Well,
nice
I'm telling you,
smoky.
I'm going to Lowe's or something. There are grills out there for $20, $25, $20.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I know, but I can't stand cheap stuff. I just can't.
They last
stand
like
cheap.
6 to 7 years. You
Well,
know,
we'll
me and my
see.
cousin were talking. I called him, and he'll tell you. I remember we went to go get a grill for $20. I know I'm gonna call one of my cousins.
Well,
and
you know,
they'll
after
tell you.
today, everything gonna be marked down. Everything is already. Some stuff is already at 50% off. But
Yeah.
okay.
So we were talking about preparing the table.
Preparing a
But
table.
maybe we'll save that for another holiday. What we was
Probably
talking about is God. We're waiting on God to relieve the food out of the oven So within your life, you might be asking God for different things. You might be asking Him for a car. You might be asking Him for a husband or a wife.
To the hood.
You know, you might be asking Him for different things within your life, and He feels that you're not ready for it just yet, but He's preparing it. And so while you're preparing the table with the silverware, you're preparing napkins, you're just laying everything out on the table, the food isn't done yet. He feels that he's taking it out of the oven, he's checking it, has his gloves on, taking it out of the oven, checking it to see whether it's tender, to see whether it's hard, just constantly looking just to see where it is. And he feels at that time that it's not ready to fulfill you yet. So that was the subject that we was going to jump on.
Yeah.
But since it's Independence Day and I've been hearing a bunch of gunshots and I've been hearing a bunch of fireworks.
Fireworks. It was
you know,
fireworks. Probably more so than gunshots.
I've been hearing a bunch of fireworks, gunshots, and everything, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, okay, people use these holidays like New Year's and Independence Day in order to, shoot or have some type of relief, because when they let those explosions go, it's a sign of holding something for a long period of time, like we talked about the other day, and relieving it. And when you relieve it, they get fulfilled with that power of the sound of the firecracker or whatever you call it. Firecracker? Yeah, firecracker.
Firecracker.
They get relieved off the power of the sound, and they get relieved off of the explosion. But there's a real fire that works, people.
You know what? Anybody tell you you're turning into a preacher?
No, well, yesterday
they're
somebody
starting.
called me. Somebody called me. No, they didn't call me, but I was at work, and this dude came by talking about, "What's up, Rev?" But
Because you're beginning to act like one, very much so. You're like, there's a fire that works. You know what? That's nice, though.
why can't I be a preacher myself?
You are. They used to call them itinerant preachers. These are preachers who never went to seminary or never went to a Bible college, and they just felt the Spirit of the Lord and started preaching, and they would travel around the country, and they would just do that. Not everybody's gone to seminary and Bible college and got a certification.
Well, hell, I'm a pastor then.
Oh, Lord.
You can call me Pastor
See
Brown.
what I'm saying?
Pastor Brown,
No.
yes, amen. Hallelujah.
You know what?
But,
Just as
the fire that works, when you relieve that fire.
You relieve the fire. What fire are you talking about?
The fire within your life. The fire of, you might be dealing with a
Do you need me to read that to you? He said, I love you guys. As a couple, you inspire us all. And she says pure love and respect between a man and a woman, and this woman.
That's Antonio
Thank you.
Bernard. Thank you.
So much for that.
Well, you probably don't want to hear it. It's probably TMI, but bedroom talk is what you talk about in the bedroom.
Yeah, sometimes our
You
conversation.
you talk openly to the public about. And so that's why we come to you naked. That's why we come to you all the way naked. I am.
That's
you might
one of
not
his
be. I am.
favorite things, but we are not.
But I am.
You covered up with all the blankets. He done
Yeah,
stole all
I'm
the
covered up,
blankets
but I'm
again.
naked.
Every
But
single.
anyway, we come to you.
Go
We
ahead.
come to you naked because
Can't
we
you
want to
just say
give
open?
you all
You
of
come.
me.
We come to you come to the people. No holds barred, open. You got to talk about
Yeah,
nakedness.
you won the wrestling match, but we talked to you nigga. That's what Nuff said was cracking about. You know what Nuff said was cracking about?
What?
We're gonna get back on the fire that works, people. But you remember that time when I told you the best thing to do was to play with yourself? You remember he
Yes.
talked about you done lost all your rights to the black community. Well, that's what he was talking about with the lotion the other day when he cracked the joke about when he first met me with the lotion. About I had a bunch of lotion at the grocery store.
You know what? Between you and Nuff said, oh my God. Okay.
But
Okay.
you know, when you explode the fire, when you let go of when you light the firecrackers, and you know you're just sitting there and you're looking the whole time, and we need to go to South Carolina anyway, but you're looking the whole time
Focus.
and waiting on that firecracker to be relieved, that explosion. You know, well, that's Jesus. That's the love, that's the grace of God, of just waiting on Him to explode. Waiting on that blessing that you may have within your life that you've been looking for a long period of time. You know, a long, very long period of time you've been waiting on that blessing to be relieved. And so when the time comes that he feels you're lighting it up, you're like, I'm going to set it at the right place. You know, maybe in some good old gravel, you know, stick it in some dirt. You're going to plant it. Then you're gonna sit still. You're gonna sit it still. Then you're gonna get a lighter, a match, or whatever you need to do to relieve that fire. Then you're gonna put it on the little stem. You're gonna back up, and as you back up and you're waiting, at its own time, you never know.
Oh, you yelling.
When it's going to get onto the sky, when it's going to be relieved to the sky. You're just patiently waiting. It could be a minute, it could be 10 seconds, it could be 2 minutes. It's just boiling up, ready to burn and ready to explode. And that's your blessing. You're patient for the firecracker, but you ain't patient for the fire. Hallelujah.
You know what? You're so crazy.
Hallelujah. Am I not making a point, though? Am I not making a point?
I see your point. But I look at it a little bit differently.
Go ahead.
You say the fire that works. A lot of times we manufacture some false fire, don't we, people? We tell ourselves, you know, fake it till you make it. We tell ourselves that we're this and we're that. But we're really not whole. We're really not complete on the inside. And so, but when God's fire gets in you, when that Holy Spirit is really in your life and you are connecting to it, that fire is amazing. You ever see some people when they first get to have a relationship with God, they're on fire. They just can't wait to tell everybody what they found in Jesus. They can't wait their experiences. But you've got to learn how to sustain that fire. You got to learn how to sustain it because you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be, you were talking about that waiting period. You lighting that fire cracker and you're waiting. That waiting period, like you said, you don't know how long it's going to be. So as you're waiting for something to explode in your mind, in your life, in new business, a new whatever, you're waiting on God to go ahead and say, now I can release this fire. But we can't manufacture that. It's sort of like when we were talking before, and I was saying, when you are connected to the source, you no longer look at life and things the same way. You just don't. But if I try to look at life only with my fire, how far will I get? Because as soon as I get outside and, oh, look, the gas tank is empty, I need more gas. And, oh, look, this bill came that I wasn't expecting, and it's 3 times the amount of what I thought it was. My fire is going to go out. Okay? But when I'm connected to the source, the true fire, firecrackers just keep going. They keep going off and popping.
Regardless of what's
Regardless.
going on in
Thank
your
you.
life, it's popping.
It's on and popping, honey. It is on and popping because even what looks like a setback, we all know people have setbacks on a regular. But what do we know about everything works what together?
For his
So
own good.
for our good,
Yeah, for our good.
for our good. So it's like, you know what? I no longer sit in just my own fire. I connect to his fire. And so that the fireworks keep on going. You ever buy a bunch of fireworks and you ready to set them off like you were talking about? You set off the fireworks and
There are people that's going to be buying $500 to $1,000
right.
worth of fireworks.
And then you know what I mean? It's just going and going and going. And then all of a sudden, what? It's come to an end.
Comes to an end.
It comes to an end. Oh, you got any more? No, man, that
it's
was
out.
all I had, man. I'm done. And you start looking to see where other people might
No,
have
you're
some.
not trying to save it. You're not trying to save it. You're just trying to get it all out.
You're just trying to have a good
one
time.
night,
Right, at
just-
one time.
Yeah.
But you know what? When you are connected to the
source.
fire that really works, you don't
You
run
don't
out.
run out.
You do not run out.
Jesus.
You don't. You just keep on going. You know what I'm saying? I mean, literally, God has showed me that when I was at my weakest point in my life, when I was at my sickest point, and I thought I was done for. Do you hear me? I thought I was done for. Everybody else was still in corporate America making that money, and I had to come out, and I had to lay still, like you said, that waiting period. I had to sit there, and every day I was like, God, what are you doing? I'm not even doing anything.
And you still being blessed.
And, fast forward so many years later, and it's like, I can barely remember that life. I can barely remember. I don't think I would be any good right now if somebody said, Judy, come sit behind a desk, and I'm going to give you this computer and your password to get into all of. I don't even know if I'd be any good at that anymore. But is the fire still popping, honey?
The fire is still popping.
Thank you.
You on a fixed income, hallelujah. And it seems that you're working just as hard and coming home with just as much as anybody in corporate America because of that fire that burns. I come in this house and looking at refrigerators, and all I see is loads and loads of things every different day because of the fire that works.
Let me tell you,
God is not going to see the thing is that we pick out certain things. When you go to the fireworks store in Carowinds Boulevard today and you look at the fireworks, you get to select what you want to buy. You get to pick what you want to buy out of them fireworks, whether it's $30, whether it's $800 or whatever. You sit there and you look at a long period of time before you make the decision to pick the fireworks up and take it to the cash register. But that ain't Jesus. Because let me tell you, you could sit there and you could look all day long at what you want from Jesus, what you want him to relieve you with, right? And you're looking, and it's just like looking at your mama and daddy. I want this, I want that. But the difference is they say no within the physical realm. But Jesus will tell you no in the spiritual realm, but you won't get it just yet. You won't understand it just yet. So when it's time for you to look at the items of the fireworks and you purchase them fireworks and you go to a certain party, you go to your house, wherever you go, and you relieve those fireworks, sometimes they might not come out well. Sometimes you might not feel as good as you would think that you needed to feel, as you thought that you would feel. That would fulfill you. So you picked the wrong thing at the wrong time. You felt that it was on the wrong at the right time. You felt that it was the right thing and you purchased it, worth of $800, $1,000 of purchases just to get there, and you sit there and light up that firecracker, and it don't come out as strong as it needs to be.
It doesn't come out the way you want it to.
It doesn't come out the way you want it to. But when you select a man who gave his life for you, a man who crucified himself, saying, Father, forgive me, for they not know what they do. Forgive them, for they not know what they do. When you sit there and you just think about all the nails and all the beatings that man took for you, whether you believe in them or not, and you sit there and you're asking his Father, who put him in there on the flesh, who came in the flesh, hallelujah,
Stop.
who came in the flesh because of Adam, because of a human nature, because of somebody human who came in, and you ask him to relieve that you want this, you want that, I need this, I need that. And he's saying, hold on, hold off, don't do it. It's not the right time. It's not time yet. Let it go. No, I'm going to get this thing anyway. I'm going to do this anyway. I'm going to buy it anyway.
Yeah, then something really
I'm going to jump in the bed with this man anyway. Regardless if you say no, hold off, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to have all the sex in the world with her. God, I'm a man. I do what I want to do. I don't want to be submissive to you. You the same man as I am. I'm a man. I'm going to show you I'm a man. And you purchased them firecrackers. You purchase these firecrackers, you plant them, and you burn them, and they don't come out the way that you expect them to. We want you to think about what are you purchasing today, and does that fire works compared to the fire that does work? Some of you are going to be spending $2,000, $3,000 just to find a reason to celebrate something you really don't believe in. You really don't believe in Independence Day. Half of us don't even know what Independence Day means. Some of you are finding a reason to cook out, grill, everything.
Drink. I just saw somebody else put up
drink to the tea.
One of the bar restaurants is having a backyard barbecue, and you know they.
Is it Kaya's?
No, it's not Kaya's. It was not Kaya's.
Oh, okay.
It was Moorhead Tavern, to be honest with you. But you know, I love how you say that. You know, what we purchase, or are we connected to the fire that really works? You know, are we connected to the source of all things? In that way, that we're not spending our money, we're not spending our time, we're not giving our emotions, we're not giving our just any part of us in just our own mindset. We're thinking of, okay, God, you know, whatever I do, you're just going to bless. Whatever I do, you know, if I give it to you, what the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these other things will be added. When my mindset is in the right direction, kingdom first, then things, that's the fire that works. When I'm in things constantly, those are fireworks. Because I don't know how they're going to come out. You know, you could buy something, you don't know whether somebody's going to steal it from you. I just saw this video where the cop left the police. It's a whole police car full of weapons and tactical equipment, and somebody in Chicago stole it. Stole it. It's probably tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff. He went into the doggone 7-Eleven or whatever he did and left the engine running, and somebody hopped in that car and ran off with it. So, I mean, how brazen, first of all, can you possibly be? But the point I'm trying to make is we can't put our time, energy into things because we don't know what's going to happen to them. Okay? You put all your energy into that corporate America job, there's a merger, and all of a sudden you've been laid off. You put all that time and energy into a degree, and suddenly that industry changes.
Oh,
and people
man.
aren't
What
needed.
you doing tonight? I'm studying for a test that I got next month. You know, what are you doing tonight? I'm studying. I have 8 or 9 hours to study, you know, every day. So you studying the same subject every day until you get to that test, which is okay. Then you graduate from that particular major you get because you're working so hard for it, and you ain't even working your major.
No.
All of that time, all of these years, you studied so long, taking time away from your future husband, taking time away from your future wife, taking time away from your future in order to get that certain degree that you're not benefiting off of.
That's a real possibility. I mean, I love it.
Seen it.
I love education. I think education is wonderful. But I cannot put all my fire into education. I cannot put everything into education trying to make it the basis of what will be my whole life.
Because you know what? A lot of times it's just like what you heard Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to where somebody said, I got to wait on God to see whether the right people are coming into my life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some people don't wait on God to see whether they need to go to school or whether they need to, you know, get this particular major. They go on their own off of what people may say, how people may say they might feel or they might be after they get what they get, after they get that degree. And it ain't what it seems, because you listen to that person before you listen to that God. And that's the same thing as the fire that works. Because all of this time you've been sitting there studying these books upon books upon books and taking quizzes, just waiting for that fire to relief, just waiting for that firecracker to burst. So the firecracker burst out of nowhere after all of those years, waiting patiently on that firecracker.
Uh-huh.
And that firecracker goes off. And it's like, you feel it's going to be a loud noise. You just, I'm about to hear that sound. That bass. You just so anxious.
Job market
you just
with my
anxious.
Piece of paper,
that
and
sound.
I'm going to be fantastic.
You
know
next thing you looking for a boom. The next thing you know, it goes to its highest peak under the air. Fast, fast, fast. Boom.
Oh. That's it. Pop. And you're like, okay, is this all there is? This wasn't what I was expecting. But that's because when you don't connect to the fire that works. See, when we say all things work together, I have a degree. I have a degree in visual communications. I probably don't use much of that degree now. And that's because of my eyes. But first of all, it's an absolute miracle that a person with a visual deficiency and condition should get a degree in visual communications.
Oh, you about to get them. You about to
come
with it, baby.
Literally.
Put my head up. My wall, the wall is hurting my head.
Okay, we
Yeah.
can't have that. We can't have that.
Yeah.
So literally, that's still part of a testimony. And though I don't do it full time anymore, occasionally somebody will say, Judy, can you look at this? Judy, can you, give me some advice about this? Judy, blah, 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 blah. And so I still use the information. But had I thought that this degree was going to take me somewhere, and then I found out about my visual issues, how disappointed would I be? Now, I'm not saying it didn't bother me, but what I'm saying is when you're connected to the fire that works, God will take what is supposed to be a pop and still make it a boom.
For the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life.
It's not a day, it's not an hour, it's not 5 minutes. It's just like having sex. I'm sorry to go there.
Oh,
Hallelujah. We're going to jump to all types of subjects
I don't know
now.
why we got to go on that one, on the people.
Because they need to hear it.
Everybody like,
all
the newlyweds. No, I think he's going to be like this for the rest of his natural born life. Go ahead, dear.
What? I love sex. I love the fact that I could talk about,
You're a married man now. You can talk about it.
Yeah, I can talk about it. Whether you get offended, TMI, I ain't got to feel guilty about the way I rammed my wife yesterday or anything. I ain't got to feel guilty about it. God don't convict me. God will put it in your spirit. He will put that Holy Spirit on you to tell you wrong for telling people how you rammed your wife early in the morning. Now, the thing about it is, will I feel that way 5 years from now? Will we have issues? Will we have moments? Will we have arguments? Yes, of course. Will we get tired? No, I never have to get tired of having sex.
Well, let me tell you something, because you're just bringing up a great point. If we put our fire into just sex, yeah, it might get boring. Yeah, you might get tired. That's why people say, you don't want to have chicken every day. You might want a little steak.
That's when
you're putting your fire, everything into that one little fire. When you're connected to God, God said for a man to be ravished with the wife of his youth. So God intended for you to be interested in that woman for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you have to go through. Again, the fire that works, if you're connected to the source, he's going to replenish. People act like somehow you're going to just run out of understanding how to be physical with one another. I beg to differ, because as your body changes, as things change in your life, as the seasons even change, you're going to be doing something different. And when you're connected to the source, he comes. Now, I don't know why we're sitting here talking about sex, but he will find a way. You got to remember your Bible. Abraham got in trouble because he told everybody that Sarah was his sister, and then he started fooling around.
Mm-hmm.
And the man was like, that ain't your sister. Mm-hmm. That's your doggone wife. Mm-hmm. How did he know? And them people were old, okay? How did he know? Because he was the Bible, the old King James said he was sporting with his wife. He was sporting with his wife. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the Pharaoh looked out and saw him. They were like, hold up. That's not your sister. So God did not intend for a man to need a different woman all the time. He intended for a man to act differently with the one woman he gave him.
Exactly. So have all different recipes.
All right.
So even if you got fried chicken, you add on the salt, the pepper, the vinegar, the honey, mustard, ranch dressing, blue cheese. You add some taste along to it.
You go online and Google chicken recipes, and when you finish, come talk to me.
Yeah.
Because there's thousands, if not millions,
of different
ways to make doggone some chicken.
To make anything.
And make anything.
You make your own syrup.
Yes, I do.
You make your own tartar sauce.
Tartar sauce, pancakes.
You make your own pancakes from scratch.
Mm-hmm. And I can change it up on a regular. Sometimes we'll add in something like, well, let's see if this will be
whether
different.
We can add it on the same way with your sex life, the same way with fireworks, the same way with God.
Uh-huh.
You can come to God at all different angles. You can come to God with all different prayers, and at the right time, he will relieve your prayer. And what it'll do is you can come to him to communicate differently to God. He will come at his time, but he will come, and you will not ever be disappointed at the purchases, the free purchases, the free attendance, the free everything that you can name. Free, 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 free. You can come to God free.
Well, he paid it all. He paid it all. There's an old song.
They didn't.
We didn't pay. What did we pay for? Did we pay? We pay for stuff in the system of this world when we go to the store, but
we don't pay. We don't pay nothing to come to God. God didn't ask us. God didn't ask us to purchase anything. You had to purchase something in order to come to Him.
You had to
He just said, "Come." He just said, "Show up."
Yeah, that's exactly right. And he owns everything anyway. When you really get the idea how God owns everything. I was driving the car yesterday, and it was pouring down rain. And I hate trying to drive in the rain. But I just realized, I was like, everything, and I get this way every once in a while, everything I see belongs to him. You know, and that's why I don't get attached to things, because he could be taking something from me, and then that's only to replace it with another thing or something else. But everything belongs to him. So I try to understand that I'm a steward, not an owner. You know what I'm saying? I don't own. I'm the steward. That means he's giving it to me, and he wants to see how well you're going to take care of that thing until I come back. How well are you going to take care of that man that I gave you? Oh, you prayed and cried and boo-hooed. Oh, Lord, I want a man. I want a man. And then you get one and you're like, in the mighty name of Jesus.
Yeah, who is this? Where did this come from?
What in the world? That's when you do it with your own dog on fire.
Yeah, I ain't asked for this. I didn't ask for this now, God. No, this is what I gave you. You asked me for a man. He might not be the man that you expect.
Hey, what I'm saying is, you know, even if it is supposedly, quote unquote, the man that you say you want, trust and believe, there's going to be some things in there that you didn't want. What we were just watching, Derek and Jacinda yesterday, Fly Time.
Talking about the fart.
Oh my good, they made this video about farting, okay? And how she just, what did he say about her? She just come out of nowhere, just blah. Oh my God, and he was funny. Then she was like, every morning his stomach goes off. I don't know what's happening to him all night, but every morning. And she was like, I was like, in the mighty name, they're driving and they're talking about passing gas.
But you know what, though? I love it when you pass gas.
Oh, dear. Now, we're not going to talk about that, but I'm just saying.
No, I just want to hear, I just want you to pass gas right now, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
Can you pass gas?
Not particularly. It's not
because
on
let
demand.
me tell you, are you holding the gas right now?
I'm not holding anything right now.
Are you holding it?
No.
Are you waiting for
Why
that
are we even
moment
talking about?
to
You know
pass
what?
gas?
You're just as crazy as a bed bug.
Because me sitting there purchasing, me sitting there asking you to pass gas, right? Whether you got the gas in you or not, I'm like, I'm feeling you. I want you to pass gas like right now.
Well, I can't.
And then I want to hear it. I'm going to do everything within my power to see what I can do in order to help you to pass gas.
I'm going to hit the finish button if you don't get off of that subject right there.
So I'm doing everything, right? I'm putting all of my energy into that gas. Not into God, but into you passing gas.
Go ahead now. You got a point.
And so you finally passed that gas. But that wasn't the gas that I was expecting.
Ooh. How many times does that happen, people? You waiting on the person to do something you know that the minute he proposes, or the minute he says, I love you, or the time you're waiting with anticipation for something to go boom, and when it happens, you're not happy with it. You're like, well, that was all that was? You ever work real hard for something, really, really hard for something, and when you finally get it, you feel more let down?
Hmm. I put in all this
I
time and
put in
all
all
this
this
work.
time and
Women,
energy.
I
I
put
just,
all this time and energy into that woman, and look what I got.
look what I got.
Look what I ended up with. All that time, all that energy. Time is everything. Think about the time that you're going to go to this firework place today, wherever you're going, and you have your eyes on that one firecracker, $800 for like 5 minutes. You put all that time into it instead of eyeing something that's been waiting on you the whole time. Pick me, pick me, pick me. Like pick up basketball court. You know, the whole time you just waiting, waiting, waiting. And then so at the end of the game and somebody loses, it's like somebody's yelling, pick me, pick me, pick me. But you pick everything else but that one particular person.
I still ain't happy.
And still not happy
Still
with
not
the
happy.
still not happy with
Not
the pick
satisfied, not
because you
content.
seeing what happened is you're seeing that somebody else picked that person that you thought wouldn't benefit the game. You end up losing, they end up winning for the rest of their lives. He ends up going to the pros or ends up, going overseas to play ball, and you sitting down looking, drinking your beer like, I sat there and I passed by that one player in a pickup basketball game, and I passed him up, and he's in the NBA now.
Well, that's why you cannot put your life into things. When you put your life into God first, He makes sense out of everything else. Because without that, without God, there's so much. You'd be like, well, why did that happen to me? Well, what has that got to do with anything? Well, I wish I didn't go through that. Or I wish I didn't have that person in my life. But when you look at it from, like I said, kingdom down, when you look at it from God's eyes down, then it's a totally different perspective. You completely understand that everything is working. Everything is working. And that's when you start to see more booms and less pops. Because the pop is when you're looking for a bigger thing and you get this little thing. But when you see through God's eyes, everything is important. You know what took me the longest time for me to accept was the death of my parents. I did not understand why God decided to take them as soon as He did, especially together. It wasn't like, okay, well, I lost my mom and then my dad. No, these people disappeared up out of here within 7 weeks of each other. So it was like in 2 months you lost both your parents. And I grieved over that thing. I was like, what in the world? Why would you do this to me? Husband ain't here. I'm sitting here with a newborn and a baby. You could have left me my parents. But can I tell you something? 90% of the people I know today, I would not have met, including this man, if my parents were still alive. Do you realize that?
Mm-hmm.
I would have been still in New York.
God does things.
I would have still been, wouldn't have been no single saved and serious for me, wouldn't have been no Mrs. Brown, wouldn't have been, driving children and learning about these beautiful kids, wouldn't have been none of this.
Well, you got to look at it. And that's just like Daddy. That's just like anybody that God takes away. He's able to replace them now. Are they replaced as far as it?
Not as the personal self.
As the personal self? No, but they're replaced in order to help you prosper within your life.
Well,
He does that every time. So let's go back to the fire that works.
Fire that works. I learned through the fire that works that even death has a purpose. As grievous as it is, as hurtful, as painful as it is, it was a milestone in my life that changed completely to what they call trajectory, the whole direction of my life. I had never left New York before that. I mean, to visit, yeah, but I had not left to live somewhere else before that. So it changed the direction of my whole entire life. And so I'm telling people that when you look at things, knowing that God's got your ultimate good for you, when you know He's got you, He says, I have you in the palm of my hand. Nobody can pluck you out of my hand. When you know when He says, I never leave you nor forsake you. When He tells you, do not fear. When He's telling you all of these things. Mm-hmm. You want to kiss me or something? Because you're looking at me like, But anyway, when you have all of that going on, then you can start to say, well, let me look at this in terms of eternity, not just the situation that I'm in right now. You start to look at it and say, well, this obviously has something for me that's going to benefit me and maybe other people. But that's when you're connected to the fire that works. If not, you know what happens to you if you're not connected to the fire that works? You start getting depressed. You start getting really, really angry. You start getting really, really bitter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could
Because
be a
you
bitter.
feel you can handle it on your own.
Thank you. And since it didn't work, so then I must not use your insecurity goes cuckoo because you're like, well, maybe I'm just not all that. You know, because this happened to me. Then you start feeling out of control instead of knowing that there's someone who does control. You know, you start to feel all those things when you only rely on your fireworks. All of that comes. The fear of the unknown. You know, then as women, I know me, we want to control everything because that's our only way of knowing that we now won't be hurt again, we won't be left again, we won't be, you know, used or abused or lied against, so we try to control everything.
Mm-hmm.
All of that happens when we don't connect to God.
Connect to the fire that works. Remember, we love you,
But God loves you more.